Welcome to CyberRange, the cloud-based cybersecurity platform for security learning and assessment. In this video, we will take a short tour of CyberRange, looking at the basic functionalities and how to use CyberRange for the first time. Let's begin by going to the application. We click on Play, and we go to the app on CyberRange. The first thing we see is the Play button. This is the button that we need to play when we first use CyberRange in order to start a game. Before we do that, let's take a quick tour of the CyberRange menu. The first thing we need to show is the avatar. CyberRange comes with a number of avatars, and the first time you use it, we recommend choosing the avatar that best suits your personality or persona. You click on the Edit Avatar, and there are many. There are the default ones, avatars from mythology, robotic, ninja, and so on. So let's look at one from the martial arts, and let's choose the Aikido one. After you select the avatar, the first thing you need to do is also to download the OpenVPN certificate and check out our other tutorials on how to install the VPN certificate on your platform. Then we can also join a team or create our own team. If you log in for the first time, you're not part of a team, so you can either create a team or you can join one of the teams that are already existing on the platform. Let's say that we want to create a team, and we create a team such as CyberDemo team. We put my motto, okay, and then we select the location, for example, Cyprus in this case. We select the crest, we specify the color, and we create the team. Once created the team, people can then join the team, or if you want, you can disband the team. That way you can join another team. It's important to understand that on CyberRange, you can only be part of one team. When you create a team, you are the team captain. As you can see, here is the symbol that identifies you as a captain. It's important to understand the role, because when you play team versus team, so in multiplayer games, and you join some competitions, the competition can be joined by the team only through the captain. So members of a team cannot join a competition. It's the captain that can do that. Let's now go into the scenarios. So in CyberRange, a scenario is a gameplay which may include a number of components, such as a storyline, some questions to answer, or challenge to complete, and virtual environment for you to interact with, alone or with other players. Not every scenario will contain questions or challenges, and not every scenario may even have a virtual environment. For instance, some scenarios may have just a storyline and some challenges, but no virtual environment. Conversely, some scenarios, such as those in single-player open-range mode, may simply contain a virtual machine for you to play with. Finally, some scenarios are single players while others are multiplayers. There are different ways of creating a game. To begin with, we'll use the Create Game button. That takes us to the Select Battle mode, where we can select either a single-player scenario or a multiplayer scenario. As an example, and to begin with, let's choose a scenario from the single-player open range mode. In the open range mode, we have scenarios which contain a simple virtual machine, a bit like a shooting range where you interact with the target without any guidance or direction. It's you and the target. As an example, we will look at the Extreme Vulnerable Web Application. When we click on the scenario, we see a description, we see the author, the difficulty level, and the crystal. In this case, we can see that this scenario will cost 10 crystals. In other words, when you play the scenario, 10 crystals will be deducted from your purse, from here. So in this case, I have 82 cyber crystals, and as soon as I click play, 10 crystals will be deducted from my purse. I click on play, a confirmation is required to proceed, so I click play. I've now purchased this scenario and I can click start to play the scenario at any time I want. Okay, so I have basically allocated an hour of playtime with this particular scenario. We don't have to start straight away. The game is available for us. How can we see that? We can see that also through the battleground. The battleground contains the list of scenarios or games that we have selected, that we have paid for with our cyber crystals. And we can we can select from the list and then enter. When we click enter, we can then start the game. As an example, let's choose also another scenario. Let's say DAV vulnerable web application, okay, or multi-leader 2, for instance. Let's play this game. Again, we are requested to confirm whether we want to pay the 10 crystals. So we click play. And again, we now have another scenario in our battlegrounds. Let's check. We now have 2 scenarios in our battleground. And we can click on any of these 2 at any time in order to start playing the game. It is important to note that only one game can be played at any one time. So I may have multiple scenarios in my battleground, but I can only play one game at a time. So let's select the first one, Extreme Vulnerable Web Application, and I can then click Start. When I click Start, the virtual machine, the virtual environment really, containing the scenario is booted. This typically takes a few seconds or a few tenths of a second, depending on the size of the virtual environment. Some virtual environments contain 1 machine, some virtual environments contain 2 or 3 virtual machines, and the size of the virtual machine also makes a difference. Some virtual machines have 3 GB of RAM, half a gigabyte, therefore the booting time may vary from one scenario to the next, but usually it takes a few seconds. After the scenario has booted, the timer starts. And every time we play, by default, 1 hour is allocated to the scenario. After 1 hour, the scenario is shut down. You can change this in the VM panel. In the VM panel, we can see 2 types of information. First of all, the global environment. These are some details about the cloud infrastructure that we're using for running the scenario. But here, the most important thing is auto-renewal. The auto-renewal defines the behavior of the scenario. By default, after 1 hour, the scenario will shut down. If you click on auto-renewal, it will automatically renew your scenario at the end of the hour so that you can continue playing without interruption. We recommend keeping this on off so that you are not charged extra crystals if you forget to shut down your scenario. One more thing to notice in the VM panel is the information about the virtual machines. We can see the IP address, we can see the URL of the website that is hosted on this virtual machine, and we can also see the services that are running on this virtual machine. Thank you for listening and happy playing.